I know you're filling out these surveys, but we got to keep on track here. So yeah, I am Amy Carney, the Deputy Director here at B.E.S.T. I am an Arizona mom of 6. This is my family. I do have, my big boys are 20-year-old triplet sons. My firstborn were triplets, and they are in 3 different states for college. Got one in North Carolina, one in Texas, one in Colorado, and then our daughter is 19, and she's at Liberty in Virginia, and they're all coming home, and I'm so happy to have a full house again. But if you didn't catch that, that was 4 kids in 18 months that I had. And then our youngest 2 boys we adopted from foster care, who are 15 and 10. We just adopted our 10-year-old last year. So 18 months ago, though, I could not have told you who my local school board members were, right? Like, I'm busy and I'm a writer. I work from home, doing everything that you were doing, right? How many of you are in the same boat? Before COVID, you were trusting our elected officials, right, to have our best interests at heart. So I know a lot of you are exactly like me. When my sons and daughter were stuck learning from home during COVID, I learned that I could never go back to how I was before, right? We could never trust our local officials to have our best interests at heart. So fast forward to today, like you, I'm now well-informed, well-educated, and involved in all the areas I'd previously left to others. And I owe a lot of that empowerment and education to B.E.S.T. And that's why I took on this position with them, because I wholeheartedly believe in them and the work that they're doing. So I couldn't be happier to be with you this morning to talk about how we can better empower ourselves, our parents, our grandparents, and our community members, right? This is a community effort. So just to briefly go over that, everyone has their parent empowerment toolkit, right? That's kind of what we're talking about. At B.E.S.T, we've got 4 areas that we mostly focus on. Coalitions, which, you know, we're trying to build and empower state-specific parent-led coalitions to reform their communities. Second, we are super focused on curriculum, eliminating and replacing all this anti-American content with new, non-opinionated, factual, high-quality standards. We are focused on candidates, unifying and educating communities to impact their local school board, and choice, expanding educational freedom. But I think before we talk about how we can best empower our parents, we've got to first talk about what our moms and dads, all of us, are up against in America. The role of the parent, as you know, is under assault, right? It's not just an assumption or fallacy, right? It feels like that, but there's true evidence and facts that are real and have been revealed publicly. Terry McAuliffe said out loud, right, exactly what parents have been experiencing for the last 2 years or more. Parents should not be directly involved in their children's education. Yet we're grateful for his honesty, right? As that didn't fare well, right? It didn't fare well for him. And so not only did it lead Youngkin to win the governor's race, but it helped fire up moms and dads and give us hope across the country. COVID school closures exposed parents to what children are being taught in the classroom, all the things we've been talking about this weekend, right? It exposed parental rights are being ignored and challenged by the experts who think they know what is best for our children. And I think we realized, and like we heard from some of our parent experts, we are the experts, and we need to own that and confidently stand up against the experts, the school board members and school administrators, the CDC, our teachers unions, Department of Ed, and mental health counselors, and we can go on and on and on at who these experts are. But we shouldn't be surprised about what is going on, because the 2020 Biden-Harris plan, he spelled it out for us. During his campaign, he said that he's going to invest in children at birth. But what does that even mean? We're seeing in states like Georgia that tried to pass a law making it mandatory for 3-year-olds to attend preschool. They're trying to make it natural and needed for preschoolers to be in school, all under the guise of closing the achievement gap. Their argument is because children are at a disadvantage due to family status or income, and kids are showing up to kindergarten emotionally and socially unprepared to learn. So that's the excuse, that the literacy deficiencies and why kids aren't reading on grade level by 3rd grade. So we must warn our parents not to fall for bait and switch of free programs. The Biden-Harris plan wants to expand home visits starting at birth. This is real. This is real. It's on the website too. The Harris plan wants health and child development specialists. They will begin making consistent visits to coach parents in their home. Biden will double funding for home visits and fund it through the Affordable Care Act. And in this Investing at Birth plan, they will have these government specialists connecting with families through their pediatrician. Okay, we can no longer trust necessarily the doctors where our kids are going, and I've found that out myself. New parents will register for services on their first newborn visit, and the specialist will be assigned to family until the child starts kindergarten. So our new moms, right, need to, and dads need to understand this is what's going to happen, and when they go into those visits, it's a no, right? No, thank you. I'm not interested, no matter what's being pushed on them. K through 12 teachers unions and the federal government are working together. We know this, against our rights. April 2021, we saw the Federal Department of Education pushing CRT through federal grants. July of 2021, we saw the National Education Association and the American Federation of Teachers Unions vow to support teachers that break the law to teach critical race theory despite state bans. Biden, the National School Board Association, and the DOJ are absolutely working against parents. In August 2021, feds take aggressive action to go after 5 governors that implement mask bans on school-age children. In October of 2021, the DOJ agrees to investigate parents as domestic terrorists at the request of the National School Board Association and the Biden administration. And we just learned recently that is true, right? And I think it's at this point where I had enough and I said, you know what, I'm filing to run for this school board. I have no time for this, right? No time for this, but I am going to make the time. And so here we are. These experts are trying to intimidate and silence us, and we must not allow this to happen. So parents must, community members, grandparents, we must stay empowered to show up and speak up. And we're seeing this happen across the country. And I love this about B.E.S.T because it's one of the reasons I joined with them too, because sometimes we're in our bubble and we think it's just happening here, right? But when you see it's happening in every state across the country, you know we've got to band together and fight this. So we're going to talk about, well, you've heard all about this. The parents know best. Make sure you sign up for everything you can on there, because it's super important you are educating yourself and keeping ahead of the curve, keeping ahead of what's going on. And you hopefully did sign up for the YouTube channel, because that's where we already have so many amazing webinars. And every week we're putting out more interviews and content. Okay, there are 4 ways to empower parents to show up and speak up. So I'm speaking to us, but we're obviously leaders in this room. We've got to go back and empower those around us, right? We can't do it all. So we need to, first, we got to strategically organize local parents. This is hard because a lot of them are busy, right? They're busy and they're feeling hopeless. They're feeling tired. I'm tired. Are you tired? It's tiring. This is tiring work, but we as leaders have got to rally. Yeah. Oh, they don't want to know. You keep. That's our hardest battle. I think we're getting, right? It's really sad, but I know, but you would just keep standing up, speaking up. They're watching. They're watching. Yeah. So. Yeah, and it can feel lonely, because like if we're the only ones keep showing up to the school board meetings, right? Which is what we're going to talk about next. We've got to show up to school board meetings. Who's going regularly to school board meetings in here? It's tiring. Oh, you're a board member. Yeah. Well, you have no choice. Yeah. Yeah. It's local free entertainment, right? I mean, but it's no joke. I mean, sometimes I'm so frustrated because I would rather be home with my family around the kitchen, around the dining table. But that's why we needed more of us, because we got to take turns, right? It can't always be us showing up. It's because we will burn out. Right? We will burn out. So, but here's the thing. It's intimidating too for parents to show up at school boarding. So in the toolkit, this is kind of explained in there. So when you've got to be able to ask people to come attend with you, right? You got to kind of hold their hands for the first time. And you've got to let them know all the specifics. Like, you know, that most of the likely people won't just come in and want to speak, but you want to encourage them and then come and watch, right? We're all, you know, none of us are comfortable up there the first few times doing that. But you also never want to assume that parents even know the date and the time, where it is. You want to make sure you tell them exactly where to park. You'll meet them at the door. You know, you want to hold hands because a lot of times it's just too overwhelming and intimidating. So you want to give them as many details as possible. And you know what we're finding is now we're turning to the retirees because parents are busy. So we're building a coalition in Arizona of retirees who are happy to show up, right? And then they can do the research and they can then feed information to parents. So if your parents, if you're not having success necessarily with your parents, turn to your retirees, your grandparents. They are happy to help and they're making new friends now, right? So I think that's what we needed to do. We've got to remove the guessing by briefly preparing people, right? We can't just put out the call and then that's it. We need to just give a little more information, make it easy for people to show up. Okay, our Parent Empowerment Toolkit also teaches you how to hold a rally, to organize a successful rally. And as you'll see in a lot of our pictures, the signs, right? B.E.S.T is big with the signs. We can get you signs. If you're planning a rally, you can let me know. You can let any of us know. We can get them printed for you locally for you to pick up. There's also under our resource tab, signs you can have printed yourself right now.
Anywhere but FedEx.
Yeah.
Find your local print shop.
Yeah, it's getting really expensive too. So like within reason we're talking about, right? Or haul some of them home that you see around here today, because it's fun to see this across the US, the same signs, right? And see us uniting across the country is really great. And people love these. Well, not everyone. The other side's like, oh, they've got big money from DC behind them or whatever, right? But the signs, just so anyway, you can read more about holding a successful rally in your toolkit. Okay, we really want to get the media's attention. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job of this in some states. That means drafting a press release, and all the details are in this toolkit that you can follow. Starting a letter to the editor campaign, right? This can all sound very overwhelming if you've never done it before. But that's what B.E.S.T is here to do, is to help you, you know, figure out your first time doing this. And our toolkit will give you, like I said, all the details on doing those things. We need, number two of the four things, we need to utilize the press and media to our advantage, okay? The other side is very good at doing that. So if you're planning a call to action event, like a rally or march, or if you're going to speak at a school board meeting about something really important, you want to take it a step further by holding a press conference before the event to ensure your efforts are reaching the broad community. This is how we build, right? We can't just stay in our little pocket. If we're in the media, you won't believe the people that come out of the woodwork that, you know, saw that didn't even know what was going on, but they're now angry and activated next to you. So Laura touched on these exact things yesterday about holding a press conference. A press conference is imperative to your cause, right? If your goal is to sway a school board that votes or push the board or district to take your concerns seriously, we got to add public pressure. And through the press is one of many ways that groups can put the spotlight on those who make key decisions. Most districts and board members do not like negative attention, especially if it's close to election season. So to have a successful press conference, you got to prepare and send out that press release first. And one thing that's inaccurate, I think an impression people have, is that you can only issue a press release if you're a formal group, right? You can put out a press release as a one single mom, okay? You don't have to be a part of a big group. We can help you with that, writing it out, or, you know, looking it over and helping you hone in on that. But a group of concerned parents or even one parent can send a press release and call a press conference. Laura talked about Lois, did it in Pennsylvania with B.E.S.T help. And I'll tell you, I had no intention of doing a press conference. B.E.S.T happened to be in town for an event when things were going down with our school board. And so Laura was like, well, you need to hold a press conference. And I was like, no, thanks. No, thank you. You know, and she came, they were there. They helped me, walk me through it. They helped give me the courage to do it. And you'll notice this, if you haven't seen this now, you will notice it. It's on every national Fox. I think now that I'm running though, they leave off my name. Now that I'm running for school board, they don't say my name as often, but this has been across the nation, which also, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have done it either. But it's really, really done wonders for us in Scottsdale, getting in the media. And then once you do something like this, media is interested in you, right? They're interested in your district. And so we'll talk about that more. So I would have never done that on my own without Best help and the parents, coming behind me. So one thing that I don't normally talk about, but I want to talk about with you guys today in this is how important earned media is. Okay. What is earned media and why is it important? Earned media is free exposure for you and your district issues. It's an excellent way to build name recognition for candidates or your group and reach people who fall outside of your normal network. Okay, earned media is publicity or exposure gained from methods other than paid advertising. But how do you earn earned media? Okay, first, you've got to be involved in your community. You need to be where the action is. You've got to understand the issues in your community and know when and how to capitalize on them. You want to be prepared for the right thing at the right time, which takes showing up here, right? And educating yourself and then going back to your community and saying, is these things Lisa talked about, are these in my community, in my district? And then showing people where that is. Another thing you want to make sure you do is you want to show up where other people are not. Okay, this is Karen, who many of you have met and know here. She's here. She's running alongside me in Scottsdale. We showed up to a City of Scottsdale. They have like a sub-education committee meeting. And we walked in and they were like, oh no, they know about this too, right? It was like, so they put out some folding chairs and we sat there, but you want to do more than just the school board meetings because there's a lot of other things going on behind the scenes. So start figuring that out, start showing up where other people are not and learning how so many people are tied together. Be the expert, own it, right? You want to be seen as a thought leader in your community. Ask a candidate or someone even considering becoming a candidate one day, about helping them get name recognition. If you're kind of helping school board candidates, how can you help get their name out there? How can you help get your group's name out there? Look for ways that your candidate, how they can weigh in. You want to get on the radar of friendlies and follow them on social media, friendly media. Bless you. You want to build relationships now, today, this week, when you go back. You want to start building a media list. If you have not done that, you want to start with your hyper local, smallest of the small, media outlets. Because this is going to be so helpful for you when your time comes. If you're not doing media yet, you're going to want to just start building that media list. A lot of people where they go right to Fox, right? I want to be on Fox. Well, that takes a little more time, and I'm going to show you that. But you want to think of local radio stations that you already listen to, broadcasters that are friendly, print reporters. Can you get someone to talk to you on their podcast, right? Or do a Facebook Live? Our blog, connect with other people in this room and jump on a Facebook Live together. Just start getting in front of people. Practical ways you can do this, once again, the press release, the press, press statement. That's another thing you need to do. Once something happens in your district, then you put out a press statement on how you feel about that decision or something that happened. So a press release is proactive before something happens, and a press statement is after something has happened. This is a great way to get in the media as well. So I'm going to show you what that means. So I'm going to go back to this. Okay. So right here, we were holding our first rally ever in Scottsdale before a meeting, and we invited James T. Harris, who's in the cowboy hat in the middle. Runs the Conservative Circus radio show. He's super popular in Arizona, and we invited him to come with us and join us, and he did. He showed up. So we started building that relationship, right? Just come, meet the parents. He put us on the radio then. And then when a bigger story hit my district, who did he call? Who did they reach out to? Me, because I was the one who had already been building that relationship with them. So when a story breaks, you want to be the first one called. Sometimes that's hard if you haven't built a relationship, they don't know if they can trust you, right? So you want to start building that relationship slowly now. Invite someone to come to a rally, invite someone to come to the media. You want to get to know them before a story breaks. This is huge. Because, okay, so once you get your name in the media, you become a credible source, right? You're no longer that crazy parent that they thought you were, because now they've met you, they trust you, they know you. And then other outlets start to know you, trust you, because they're seeing you and hearing you on their show. And then if you get a big enough story going, I don't know if you heard across the nation, our school board president was creating a dossier on, there's about 52 of us that they were collecting all kind of personal information on, and we released that, and we started that hyper local, and then it went national. And so B.E.S.T is amazing for helping us get national coverage. So if you're getting your, you're doing the work in your state, we can help push that out for you. So our story, I was on Laura Ingraham, which is really funny because this happened during the last fly-in. How many of you were at the last fly-in in November? Yeah. So I was supposed to be here, but I had COVID. So I'm in bed with COVID, probably like a lot of you, same thing, same symptoms and all that. And all of a sudden, Laura Ingram's show reaches out to me, and I was like, holy cow, I got to get out of this bed, get myself put together, and do that, and do that. So we never want to pass up a good media opportunity. Okay, if you're in bed with whatever you got going, you got to throw it together. If Laura Ingram's calling, you want to get on there. But that would have never happened if I hadn't been creating little media at home. Be ready and flexible for breaking news interviews, because they will come. They will come if things, are going on in your district, because they're looking for stories to show across America. And I'll tell you that when we get these media hits like this, I just had a Fox reporter reach out to me 2 days ago, and we're meeting on Wednesday. She wants me to help her create a story. Like, okay, what's going on in your district now? And that's only because she's seen me on Laura Ingraham and she's seen me do things. That's just not going to happen if you haven't built credibility for yourself. So we can help with that. If you're doing it local, let us know how we can help you push it out nationally. Third, we want to train parents on how to protect and enforce their parental rights in education. Right, this is huge. How many of you are already filing FOIAs in your district? Okay, every one of them you should be, or if you don't want to do it yourself, you put it on someone else, right? That's the Freedom of Information. Wait, freedom, is that even right? Yeah, it's the Freedom of Information Act, and every district should have, you should have that on your website. You can request pretty much any records from any federal agency. So it's with rare exceptions that protect interests such as personal privacy, national security, and law enforcement. You can request correspondences. You can get emails. Many times you can get text strings, records and documents from our local school board members and local government agencies. That is in your book, tells you exactly how to do that in your parent empowerment toolkit. If you aren't understanding something, every one of you has my card in your folders. You can reach out to me. I've done a lot of these myself. You won't believe what you'll find. Yes.
The only thing I say about it as a school board.
Yeah.
Just don't do it to be
A jerk.
a jerk. If we had one person do it and they went back like 10 years
Right.
and they were just being a jerk.
Yeah.
And it cost us money. We ended up losing a treasure because we got fed up with these people.
Yep.
And I don't have a problem with just stuff.
Mhm.
It should be lit, but if people are going to be jerks. It costs money that our school didn't have in time.
You're right about that.
And wasted. So that's the only thing, when people are pushing, you do that. You do it with the right mind and the right heart, I would say.
Exactly.
Not being a jerk. Yeah, but to a degree,
100%. We want to be productive. We want to be productive. And we're not doing it just to be a jerk. This is to find out if it, I agree with you. Yeah, 100%, because, but it is something we can do. And I think it's something we must do when we're not able to get the curriculum, right? Or if we're not understanding, what's going on with your gender identity policy or something, you have the right to do that. I had this experience myself. So I have a 4th grader and an 8th grader, and this is another good story, but I got myself onto our novels, supplemental novels review committee. I got myself onto that this school year, but they wouldn't let me see the middle school curriculum. I'm approving books, but I can't see the curriculum that it relates with. And they told me no. And so I sat on it for a little bit, and then I wrote her back and said, okay, I'm sorry, but according to this law, we do have an amazing parental rights bill in Arizona. And so I was able to pull the law, send it back and say, as a parent of a middle schooler, I have the right to come to that curriculum. And so they said, okay. So they had told me, no, we can't just accept no. And I was willing to do a public records request if they still push back, because sometimes you do have to. And then you will be able to get the curriculum. So if you're struggling with something to find out something, this is a tool for you. We do not want to go just be a jerk and try and get everybody's emails. But if we are, it's a tool we should use to learn what is going on behind the scenes, and we have every right to do that. No, he was dumb enough to email me. Okay, here's another thing. Let's go back to media. When you are speaking out against a board member, a superintendent, anyone in your district, you will get pushback, right? So I had spoken out against our board president and decision he made. I've still to this day never met him personally, face to face, because obviously they were locked down for so long, and I have no desire to anymore anyway. So I spoke out about a cease and desist letter he had sent to our parents group that we were not allowed to use SUSD in anything, which is our acronym. It's like they had trademarked it and no one knew. It's like, this is ridiculous. They paid legal money to send to moms that we are not allowed to use SUSD and everything. So I spoke out about it in the media. Once again, they reached out to me, I think James T. Harris, and I gave him a quote. Well, he did not like that. So he dropped into my inbox, he had CC'd, it was me, he CC'd another board member and the board president, calling me a white supremacist, calling me anti-Semitic, all these things, and I better stop my behavior before someone is shot or killed. Yeah. So I'm like, all right. So, but I'm like, yeah, well, I ended up going to the police because that's not my mentality. That's your mentality. So anyway, it's a long story, but when you speak out in the media, be prepared that so he dropped into my inbox with that. And luckily I was able to turn to Laura and the B.E.S.T team, which you may do as well. What do I do? How do I respond to this? What do I do? And they're like, nothing. You do not respond to that. So I sent it to some of my key people, like she was saying, your kitchen table people, your people. I said, okay, I need you to know, this is what I got. What do you girls think? One of the moms shared it, which wasn't cool really, but she shared it with other moms. So another mom who was listed in this email to me, she blasted him. So she started a whole chain now back and forth. So I'm just on it watching. They're going back and forth. So now he sends us screenshots to visually show us why he thinks we are anti-Semitic and white supremacists and all this. So I'm looking at him and I go, huh. I saw a folder with this mom's name on it and her, I forgot what he named it, her racist behavior or something. And I saw Google. I said, so I didn't even know this mom. I found her, found her number through a friend, called her, and I'm like, did you see that? I think he has a Google Drive with a folder with your name on it. And that, you need to, she goes, no, I didn't even recognize that. So the Lord gave me eyes to see that. And thank goodness that's where I stopped, because she went and input that address and got right into that drive. And that's how we found that. And they watched it for a few months until his dad was wearing body cam to the meetings and taping us. And then we were like, okay, we got to come out with this. No, the board president. This is the board president. Yeah. So anyway, so don't think you can just be quoted and say anything about anybody without repercussion, but we can't be intimidated. We can't be afraid if you're speaking truth, right? And anyway, so that's how that happened. It wasn't through a FOIA. That was right into my inbox. And And yeah, yeah. So, and I did end up going to the police with a stack of things because I said, you need to know if something happens, but they said there's nothing you can do. They can harass you, they can intimidate you, they can do whatever they want, which is really sad, through digital means. But he didn't actually do anything to me or anyone yet. But he was running again for our board, and that's too why I said, I'll run against you, dude. So, and now he's not, so. Yeah, and we've ruined his name, which is the point too, right? If someone is destructive in your district, you want their name out there in the media, and you want, we did a recall just to get his name out there. And I think he's running against Randy Kaufman, who's here too, for our now Maricopa Community College Board. And we think he's dropped from that as well. We've just crushed his, and as we should, right? As we should, because we had let him walk onto our board 4 years ago as a 23-year-old single man. He lives at home with his parents because I wasn't paying attention. And and this is what's happening, and it will never happen to us again. So I've gotten way off track, but that's real life stories. And as Laura talked about yesterday, we want to be lobbying our legislators. Hopefully you have that toolkit to take home as well. If something happens, you missed that, I do have some more of those. Anyone been lobbying their legislators? Yeah, it's good. B.E.S.T will help you do that too. They'll come in if you got, things going on, help you plan a Capitol Day, teach parents. We did that in Arizona. And so it's really, really important. That's, once again, we're talking about the lobbying toolkit, which we already talked about yesterday. So fourth, we want to educate our parents on the issues. This is the biggest thing, educate ourselves and then help educate others. Even if they don't think they want to be educated, we just have to keep putting out the content because they will get to that point, I think, when something personally happens to them, if they're willing to see what's going on. So I don't know how many of you tuned into our Exposing the Culture Wars in the Classroom webinar series. That was really great. Lisa, you did one of those for us on SEL. The great thing is if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, those are all on there. You can go back at any time, watch those and continue to educate yourself. And I think B.E.S.T just does a really great job. And I think every week, like I said, we're trying to interview different people, different topics. If you have any topic that you feel like needs to be addressed or someone we need to interview, please let us know, because you're not the only one looking for that information. That means we all are wanting that. So it's crucial that you educate yourself and then give others the tools as well. So if you haven't, I think you'll all be on the email list now that you're here anyway, but parentsknowbest.com is where it's all at. You've heard about the Candidate Academy. Here's the thing, pass this on to anyone. Just put the link out there and have people sign up that are thinking about being a candidate, that are already in the mix. They can go back at any time. Those are live trainings, but they're recorded and they can see them at any time. Yes. Yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that because that's what we're seeing. We're activating people to run. We're going to take back seats. Now what, right? Yeah. So
We work with organizations that do school board trainings as well. If you're in Virginia or on the East Coast, Noah Webster Education Foundation is a great resource.
Oh, they already have one for once you're on there. Well, that's what we say. You're either complicit or oblivious, right? Yeah, I think they don't. Oh, yes. Yeah. For sure. Everything is public. Your emails are public record as well, right? So you know that too. When you Oh, yeah. Yes. Yep. Yes. And yep. So we want to partner, obviously. That's the goal. Exactly. Right. And I think you want to do it in real time too. When something's happening in your district, right? Or you see something on an agenda that relates to something you've learned, that's a good time to then send her, hey, before you vote, here's this. This is what, and then you're helping, make it easy. But if you just regurgitate it all, I mean, no one has time for that. And then you start looking, you want to be a thought leader that she looks to, right? That she respects, and you're giving her good information. But if you just throw it all to her, she's not going to do it. So drip it out when it's appropriate. Build those relationships. I think that's the goal, right? Is finding our friendlies and working with them. Yep. So we are out of time. So if you have any questions after, please come up to me. You all have my card, email me. My territory is Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Texas. So if you're in those states, you're mine, and I would love to come out, hold events, help you. If you want to be one of my states or you want more action, you want more help, please reach out. We are here for you. We're here to help in any way, and we want to grow this movement together. So thank you. Whew.